Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Now, it's been an interesting weekend. Money Mike's back with another video. And in this video, I'll be discussing different pieces of news that we've had, along with some technicals as well, coming from a different approach today. Taking a while to speak on this because I wanted to make sure that I had the correct information to deliver to you guys. But this is what I'll be going through in this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends, and help this YouTube channel to grow. My aim is to get to 1K, and then from there we take off to the moon. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Okay guys, so I'm sure it's very common news by now if you're in crypto, or if you're not even in crypto, or you're a no coiner, as we would say. We've had a very interesting piece of news coming out, and it's not just this piece of news, but there's been quite a few pieces of news that have come succinctly and I believe very perfectly timed in the situation we're in now. Already we know, if we backtrack a bit, what we've had since earlier on this year in April, when we had the first signs of breakage, or the first signs of reversal on the price action when Bitcoin dropped from 64K to 51K, which I've mentioned many times in the live sessions. And then we've had further news which has pushed the price down very strongly, and Bitcoin at the moment has dropped more than 50% of its all-time high, which is very intriguing. And every single time has been powered by news and also some technical things as well when it comes to the liquidity in the market. Now, I'm very intrigued to see how the price is going to move forward when it comes to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. But I just want to go from a fundamental point of view, first of all. Now, here's the news delivered. I'm using CNBC. Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, gets banned by UK regulators. Now, before we move any further, this, if you're wise and you understand what cryptocurrency represents for the world and the freedom that it provides, and I just want to put this here as a clause that cryptocurrency in general has a great promise, and I do believe it will fulfill what it's promised to do, which is to provide a level playing field for people from all walks of life when it comes to economy, finance, technology, and etc., which has never been seen in history before. And so one of the biggest things with cryptocurrencies, which is why I believe personally governmental levels of authority and some institutional levels of authority really dislike, is because it takes away the power from them and gives the power to the people. Now government, if you're not too sure why governments have started, currency itself, okay, was an issuance of a representation of money. Now, if you're not too sure about what I'm talking about and you want to have more information, please visit the Wealthy Show on YouTube and watch the videos there. I have about 8 videos talking about currency devaluation and the gold standard system. But to summarize it, when we discuss this, and it'll help you to understand what I'm about to say a lot better, uh, cryptocurrency takes away the power. Now, governments are supposed to only charge, or are also only supposed to use money that they tax from the people. Okay. But since our system has been broken, governments can print unlimited money, or we call it money, but really it's just currency, a representation of an underlying um, asset or value. Okay. Now, with things like Bitcoin, which has a known maximum supply of 21 million, it will never change, is being algorithmically fixed in the structure of Bitcoin forever. Okay. We know that governments do not have that and they can print as much money as possible. Now, think about this properly. Think with me for just a moment. During the coronavirus period, we had a massive lockdown. Nobody could go to work, but people still need to receive their salaries because it's not their fault that the coronavirus was in circulation. And so people were still being paid. A lot of people who were made redundant or couldn't work were still being paid by their respective governments. Now, if there was no commerce going around the world, how was money being generated? How was the government able to satisfy the needs of the people? Very simple: print more money, create more money out of thin air, which causes currency devaluation and will increase inflation over time. And this is what we've seen. We've had a massive spike in US inflation. At the moment, US inflation is at 4.7%, or CPI is at 4.7%. And the hourly wage being paid to people in the US per hour is 4.2%. So if you want to read into the figures before I move forward here, for you to get the picture of what I believe is really going on, nominally, if people are earning 4.2% more per hour, but then the CPI, which is the cost of goods and services, which is energy and energy services are factored out of that. Okay. But in general, nominally speaking, even though people are earning more, it's costing 0.5% more and probably untold levels higher than that in certain industries to buy the same goods and services they could do last year, okay, and the year before that, okay. Now, as long as governments keep printing money, inflation only goes one way, debt only goes one way, and this, or national debt only goes one way, and this is where we are at the moment. Now, cryptocurrencies offers a safe haven away from what I call a stack of cards in the form of currency, which is any currency you can think of. Their backing is based on government, or what we call fiscal policy. Now, this is not really the lesson for it, but I'm so passionate about it, I can't stop talking about these things. So, fiscal policy, government policy, and also policies that come from central banks. Whenever there's a financial crisis, they merge together and become one. And this is what we saw in 2020. So, from this massive amount of printing of money and digital money being given to different levels of people, the largest we've ever seen compared to 2008 for sure, which I always talk about. In 2008, the currency supply that we had was given to institutions only. When the financial crash happened, only institutions were bailed out. The people were left to suffer. There was mass unemployment, and there wasn't any bailouts. There wasn't really cash given to the people. The Federal Reserve didn't, and the government didn't print out money for the people, only for the institutions to keep them afloat. But in this 2020 crisis that we've had, everybody has been bailed out. We've had a mass open supply of currency, of every currency you can think of, which can only mean one thing. If supply increases more than demand, or supply increases in general on something, then the price and the value drops. Okay. It's kind of like the more common an item is, the less as human beings we take it to be valuable. Okay. And so it comes at a very timely point where we've had the inflation at its highest point of CPI, and then we've had situations in China with mass crackdowns on mining farms. Okay. Now, I saw something by a guy that I really like. Um, his name is Wu on Twitter. Very lovely guy, out of Australia, Asian guy, who talks about on-chain analytics a lot, and he really got me turned on to on-chain analytics. And he made a tweet today, uh, really, really funny tweet. He said, "Thank you, China, for removing the last hurdles and allowing for the major." Now, to put context to this, about 60 to 65% of all of the Bitcoin mining, or all of the hashing power that comes onto the network, comes from China. So by China having this harsh crackdown on anything to do with Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining, okay, has caused a lot of Chinese companies and miners to spread abroad to Kazakhstan and neighboring countries, okay, decentralizing the network even more. So he said, "Thank you, China, for decentralizing the network and removing the major stumbling block for us all." Which is a funny way to look at things, but I believe is the right way to look at things. Now, despite what may happen in the future, I do think that there are many things that we haven't seen yet that will come to light, and those of us on the right side of the market will be very happy for staying in there. Now, anyway, coming back to where we are now, so you have some context. So, Britain's Financial Conduct Authority. Now, me being from the UK, I think it's right for me to speak. If I don't speak about this, I believe it's actually wrong to do so. But Britain's FCA said that Binance Markets Limited is not permitted to undertake any regulated activity in the UK. And from June the 30th, Binance must notify UK users of FCA's restrictions in a prominent place on its website and apps. And the final key point is the latest sign of a growing crackdown on the cryptocurrency markets from uh, regulators all around the world. Now, this latest sign, for you to understand that there's been many different countries, major economic centers, which have been cracking down on regulatory from the regulatory standpoint on cryptocurrency exchanges. So if I click on what we have on CoinDesk, for example, let this load up for you here. On CoinDesk, we've seen a very similar thing. Okay, if I pull it up over here, you may be able to see it better. Here we go. So on Bitcoin.com, we have the same, more recent from the FCA, but also we had one come out from the Japanese regulators and also from Canada in Ontario. So uh, it's been known already that Binance is pulling out of Canada due to regulatory issues. Okay, and Japan also, the FSA is also warning against Binance Holdings Limited and the CEO Shangpeng Zhao on Friday. And the notice is, okay, and this is what Binance what the statement is that Binance has been providing cryptocurrency exchange services to Japanese customers without registration. Now, I just want to put this out to you guys that please understand this very carefully. These guys didn't find out about this now. They've known this for a very, very long time. Okay, but if you notice, the narrative in the market is very bearish at the moment for crypto, it seems like. The bull market that everybody was excited about has kind of seemed to come to an end, especially if people bought at what is considered at the top at the moment. Now, for me personally, I did say one thing, and I'm glad I did stay out of the market to that degree. And I did tell my students in the Wealth Group Academy as well. Now, when it comes to um, of course, there is a bull market and a bear market is very obvious. However, they got to a point where everybody seemed to be saying the same thing on YouTube. Everywhere, everybody was just in the go, 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 buy, buy, buy. When I saw that, I've been in trading as a trader for many years now, and whenever I see that pattern from retail trader psychology, I know only one thing is going to happen: a crash. Now, during that period of time, we had a very blissful period during March and February with NFTs and the spikes on that and different cryptocurrencies. So as soon as we got to April, that's when the warning lights were starting to show. Now, some have said that, from Wyckoff's pattern, we've seen how price action has moved. But I think the liquidity in the market was showing signs even before Wyckoff's. And I will explain technically later on. But from what we see here, okay, we have a very timely uh, warning. Now, this doesn't mean that they've been closed down. This is just a warning, but the warning has not affected the market, which is great. But the warning has come to scare a lot of people, especially new people involved in crypto. All right, but let's pull it back to the UK. Let's actually look at what the FCA said. So here's what the FCA said: Binance Markets Limited is not permitted to undertake any regulatory activity in the UK. And this firm is part of a wider group which is the Binance Group. Due to the imposition of requirements by the FCA, Binance Markets Limited is not currently permitted, okay, not currently permitted, but it doesn't mean it can't be, to undertake any unregulated activities without the prior written consent from the FCA. No other entity in the Binance Group holds any form of UK authorization, registration, or license to conduct regulated, I keep saying regulated, there we go again. Anyway, conducted regulated activity in the UK. The Binance Group appeared to be offering UK customers a range of products and services via a website, Binance.com. Now, it's very interesting that of the timing that has come along. As you can see, that the major countries are, I personally believe that governmental levels of authority are really starting to be afraid of what cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, represents for the world. And this crackdown, I don't think it could have been timed more perfectly in wherever we are. Kind of like kicking everybody when they're down. Now, most of the investors in crypto are emotional. Most of them source their information, from other friends, a few YouTube videos that they don't finish to the end and they just go for it. Like, especially meme coins, Dogecoin. I had a student who was, young guy who has a bit of money and he said he wanted to invest in Dogecoin and he had just recently lost about 4.5k investing in a crypto that a friend told him about. And I just wish he had asked me the question. He had told me about it, but I hadn't seen him for a little while. But he came back and he lost basically uh almost all of his portfolio. It started off with 5k and end off with 500 pounds just due to listening to a friend. Okay. Now we always give good advice. The Wolf Group Academy always provides support, but I think he did this one, just off the bat in the corner, not listening to anyone, and that's a very dangerous thing. But you know, s- also he wanted to invest in Dogecoin. Now, because of his age, I know he's more on the younger side of Generation Z. I find that a lot of the newer investors are going after information that is secondary or tertiary and even more than that, kind of like Chinese whispers. So for the group, which is the majority at the moment, who are trying to pull out of the market, these are the kind of things that will affect them. Okay. And I would say, as a crypto community, this is a time to be stronger, not necessarily to go and try to bash every single person or any of those kind of things. But this is a time, I think, for thoughtful thinking. Before you invest in a cryptocurrency, it would be wise for you to take proper consideration as to the long term goal. I do believe the market is maturing, and I do think that this is a very healthy time and a very good pruning time for cryptocurrency in general. When the internet came about, there were many things that had to get stripped off. There were many companies at the forefront that had to disappear. Otherwise, the internet wouldn't be the internet. And I believe it's the same for cryptocurrency. Certain altcoins, certain ways of doing things need to end in order for there to be furtherance of this. We're ushering in a new generation or a new era of how human activity will continue for many, many untold years. This could actually be 100, 200 years, who knows? Okay, and so for that reason, I think it's very wise of us to make healthier choices and not to react to the news, especially when it comes from mainstream media. Okay, what's very interesting to me, and we can look at this later on in other videos, is that whilst a lot of the information or the news is coming out from these major sources of media, the institutions that back them and etc. are always buying the dips every single time they find them. Okay, and so it goes to show you that it's very important to look at more the actions of what uh, big money is doing, the whales are doing, rather than what the media is saying. Okay, because they know something that they have access to information that most people don't. But I think in this space, the topology of the market, I think we have a bit more chance of knowing what's going on because of blockchain and other things. Okay, and we will do videos on how to find out that cutting edge information as soon as possible. Okay, so from here, if we go through the news, I just want to clarify this to give you guys some peace because many people have asked me. Okay, I've gone into good detail with my students and also with just other people asking me, friends of mine, hey, I have some money, what do I do? Now, if you're from the UK, from Japan, now Canada's situation is slightly different, but what I would say, and okay, I'm going to use this and back some evidence here for you to see with first with Decrypt. Okay, so here is Decrypt. This was yesterday. It's a 5 minute read, June 28th. Okay. And before I go to the briefing, I want to read this first and then I'm going to do it in reverse. Okay. So this is the last point. This is very important. Now, Decrypt, of course, is crypto positive. Okay. Now, depending on what side of the river, I'll put it that way, whatever side of the river the news um, people are who give out the news to us, you'll be able to tell very quickly from how they state things and how they talk about it. Certain companies and certain news companies, like for example Al Jazeera, has a very different outlook and therefore headline when it talks about what's going on. There are sadly, many news outlets who are very poised on causing the markets to shake as much as possible. I do think because personally they do see the power of it and they want cheaper prices. And you have to understand, guys, that stocks is, when the internet was birthed and whatever happened to the internet, that's one layer. It's fantastic. It did change a lot of things for business, but cryptocurrency I think is even bigger than stocks and the internet age. And the reason I say that is because it doesn't just affect how we do things in terms of technology, but it also affects economy. And because we're touching the epitome of human civilization, which is money and economy. This is why the fight is so heavy. So be prepared for more crashes, more crazy things happening, possibly, all over the place. I mean, this is not the video for this, but even with John McAfee's death, rest in peace, John McAfee. Before he died, he was even just saying how if he dies by suicide, it wasn't him. So there's really crazy things going on all sorts of levels. Now, I mean, John McAfee is a interesting figure, but I just wanted to see that cryptocurrency, the reason why we're seeing the kind of fight we're seeing, guys, is because of what battle it's trying to fight, and which is the pinnacle of society and tackling the highest heads of authority, which is government. Now, it doesn't mean that we want to override government and do whatever we want, because there's a reason for governmental figures and etc. and governmental authority. But the bad side of what government has created and been running for over 100 years, since I would say since the Federal Reserve was created 1913, just after the Knickerbocker incident. For those of you who don't know it, please check it out, the Knickerbocker incident. But however, I think at this time that we are right now, it's important to understand that we're in a very interesting place and a very strong fight, that we need to keep standing strong. The price at this point does not matter. Of course, you want to buy the dip, but it's bigger than buying the dip. I mean, that's a phrase that, of course, is a no-brainer. If the price gets cheaper, then you buy. But we're going further than buying the dip. The volatility, the swings that we're experiencing in the market, we're fighting against the very core of how society has been broken, and a lot of the unfairness that has gone undealt with for over 100 years. Okay, this is how big it is to me, and this is how big I see the market. So even though I'm looking at projects from, there are some important things about the ROI, which is important, but right now, see it as, for me personally, I'll say for myself that when I'm investing in crypto, I see it as investing in a piece of history, a piece of a new era, okay, that is here to stay. Okay. Now, if this was just technology that can make things better, I can promise you by now, after 12 years since Bitcoin, if Bitcoin didn't represent what it represented, and it was just to help human life to get better, trust me, it would have been already established. There'll be regulations everywhere. But because of what Bitcoin is attempting to do and other cryptos are attempting to do, we're in a very interesting space, guys. So you should be prepared. Okay, trading wise, should be prepared to trade the massive opportunity that's once in a lifetime. But also, you should be prepared with your portfolio of what to do, how to protect yourself. Okay, also. And I would like to definitely do some videos on those. Okay. So let me read this out. So Binance is not banned in the UK. The FCA says its consumer warning against Binance Markets Limited is not an outright ban on crypto exchange operating in or a ban on the crypto exchange operating in the UK. And this is what the FCA says. Okay. So this answers your question. If you're wondering what's going on, this is what the FCA has said for now. And so for now, for those of you in the UK, you are safe. Now, all that the FCA has done to stop Binance Markets Limited from providing regulated activities to consumers in the UK. So Binance Markets Limited does not currently provide regulated activities in the UK anyway. It was previously pursuing registration with the FCA, but has since withdrawn its application. That does not mean that UK customers cannot access Binance from home or anywhere else with an internet connection. They can continue to use Binance's main trading platform. Here's our answer, guys. All right. So, as you know, the term FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, is a very important term that everybody should know. And if you don't know it, please understand it that the way things are put, the timing of how I would say governmental levels of authority do things, especially same way we had the internet, the way news media carry out certain propaganda, okay, to delay stuff. Now, please understand that the governments, they may seem on the surface as if they don't know what cryptocurrency can do, but trust me, they have a very good idea. Okay, they have many teams of experts who study crypto day and night. It's just that they try to play smart because you know right now cryptocurrency is a threat, is actually a war, against how they do things and how they want things to be run. Okay, and so don't be surprised if there's more tricks up their sleeves, more things take place. Okay, be prepared for everything. Okay, and make sure you read things twice. Okay, but this is where we are at the moment. Okay, in terms of regulation, now they could step up, ramp up things and do more regulatory damage, if you want to say. But at the moment, Binance is still running fine. You can still interact with Binance. There is no issues there whatsoever, guys. So I hope I answered your question. Now, to finish off this video, this is a very short one. but just wanted to give you some calm and some peace. Let's have a look at what's going on and how we can move forward from a technical standpoint. All right. Now, I've decided, guys, to get myself back into trading. Okay. The 10K challenge is back now. Now, I know for some of you, you've been seeing me do the 10K challenge. All right. I flipped the account. I took it by about, I think, to 300%, possibly even closer to 400% roughly. Okay. Now, I'm getting back into trading. Now, some of you probably are wondering, okay, where have you been? You were making profit and then you just stopped. Now, first of all, to answer the question, I haven't failed the challenge, but I've been trading for a very long time. And I just got the sense from the market that it was time to withdraw. Okay. And just take some time to study. Now, I know it sounds counterintuitive to, how trading is supposed to be, that you're supposed to be at it, but I would say this to you guys that when it comes to trading, okay, there is a time where it's good to be healthy and just to take a stance back. I'm confident in my trading ability. I know that I can make profit at any time, but sometimes it is wise, okay, really honestly, it is wise to go through stages where you don't actually trade. You just observe the market and you study. Okay. And that helps you to become better. Even if you do miss out on a great trade, okay, it trains yourself against the greedy appetite that we can all have at times, which is to chase every trade. Okay. And I would say to you guys that is a healthy thing to do. All right. Now I am the founder of the Wealth Group Academy. I've taught over 76 students till date. Okay. And I'm still teaching more. And I've seen many different types of traders and people. And I would say to you guys that one common thing is the less emotional you are when it comes to trading, the more profit you're going to make. And that's without a shadow of a doubt. Okay. The less emotional you are, the more money you're going to make. And this is without a shadow of a doubt. So please trust me, guys, when I say to you, before I do any analysis and stuff, that just make sure you take some time to look at things before you get in. Now, I know that, at times, um, things can look a bit rough, okay? But I want you to always remember in mind that you want to keep your emotions at bay. Now, I want to show you this, guys, before I move forward. Let me just switch the screen to go here, guys, just for you to have some clarity as to what's going on, because I want you guys to see exactly what I've done so that you understand, because for integrity's sake as well, because I could say anything, but you would never believe me until I say it, okay? So I decided to do this, guys, for you guys to see what exactly I've done. All right. So here we go. I'm switching screen for you guys to see this. So I hope you guys can actually see this. I've loaded this up here. So here is the challenge account. This is the back end of it. And I just wanted to show you the history. So what did I do? Now, I got up to £850 of profit. Then I think the account dropped by a bit. Now, what I decided to do was to pull some money out. So here I've still got some money in the wallet here. Here is a 255 pounds and 77p, which I'll start trading with again, and I'll turn it into more money. But I just want to show you guys that I actually did make profit on this account, but I did make some withdrawals. I withdrew some money and I used it. I took my misses out, had some fun. Now, why did I do that? Not because of the money per se, but rather because of the psychology. No matter who you are, no matter how much money you've made, every time you make profit from your trading account, there is a healthy psychology in making sure you make some spending, or you do some sort of spending with it. Okay, not the actual account when you haven't made profit, when you've made some profit, when you've made good enough profit, like let's say 50% of the account. So let's say we started off at 200, you've made 100. It's healthy to withdraw £50, take that £50 and use it for something. Why? Because mentally it puts you into the position of becoming a trader, rewarding yourself for your time and effort. Now, with trading, time is not equal to money. That's not what you want, because that structure of time equals to money won't get you anywhere. Okay, you want an exponential growth, so your knowledge equals to money. So the more you know, the more you grow. So you can see here, I withdrew, this was a mistake, but I withdrew £50. Then I withdrew £92 57. Then I withdrew £100 one, two, three times. And then I withdrew another £100 again. So we have one, two, three, four. So about just over £500 of withdrawals. So I corrected this one because I don't know why I did 55. I think it was a mistake. but we had 1, 200, 300, 400. All right, if we add £8, let's call that 500 and 550. So roughly around about that. Now I withdrew some of the money. I kept locked away because I didn't want to touch that money and I wanted to continue with the challenge. Now I know it's a bit strange for a challenge because with the challenges usually for trading, it's kind of like every single day you're at it. But I'm not trying to do the same thing as everybody else. Okay, and this is why I want to show you the integrity of what I'm doing. What I'm trying to show you guys is you can still, the 10K challenge is still going on and I'm going to get to 10K. Trust me on that. But rather what I'm trying to show you is just a picture of what how it is to trade, what the mindset is to trade, what goes on in the journey. Because let's just be honest, those challenges are really entertaining to watch, but that's not how real life trading happens. I'd rather take you on the journey with me all the way to the 10K mark. Okay, and there will be some giveaways as well because I'm not going to keep all the money for myself. It's good to share and to bless. I believe in blessing. So I would say, sometimes with these challenges, it's always kind of like how much money can you flip in a certain amount of hours. But we know the market is always not the same. And I'm not going to try to lie to you and tell you that every trade I take is correct. Of course not. Now, I did leave some money from the profit behind to trade and I did blow it just playing around. And I realized that my psychology is not right. So I need to pull back. Now, because of trading for a long time, I understood what to do. So I left that money where it is. Okay. So now that we're back here, I'm going to continue trading this. I'm going to transfer this money into the account. Okay. Maybe all together, maybe piece by piece, who knows? But I just wanted you guys to see this for integrity, just to help you understand. So now I know that with the FX, my FX book, because there's withdrawals, a transfer considers like or contributes as a withdrawal, the figures might not be right. So if you're seeing my FX book and you're not too sure what's going on, what I would say to you guys is ignore that for now, okay, and just focus on the equity growth as you see the chart moving forward. Okay, now we're on the same page, guys. Let's go over to the charts and have a look at what's going on. I'm just going to do a simple Bitcoin analysis and we'll call it a day. All right, so just to show you guys again, it's the same account. Here we go, 211330904. So at any time we can move money from our profits in or out. Okay, we'll let you guys know. So the 10K challenge is continuing as normal, but I just wanted you guys to hear my mind and my heart on what's going on, so you understand that I didn't blow the account. I would never do that, but I wanted you guys to see what's going on with the markets. Okay, so I'm just going to do a Bitcoin analysis here, and I'm actually just going to do a quick recap. All right, so just breaking down the price, okay, from where we are. Now, what I will do is that I will rehash over IC markets gaps so that we can discuss it also. But for now, starting off on the D1 here, where are we? Now, we're in a very interesting place with Bitcoin. As I said to you, that this demand zone here, the price has really been battling to stay above 30K. This D1 demand zone here is the demand zone created from the beginning of January. And this is really the launching pad for the price to go from below, from the 30K mark all the way up to 64. Okay. Now the price has come here several times. Now, for traders who trade support and resistance, this will represent a very strong support level around these areas here. Now, but in terms of liquidity, which is how I trade supply and demand, this order block sooner or later is going to fail and is representing a cap on the price. And so I do expect the price to push short. Now, we've had several price action movements here, which confirm the price moving short. We've had, in terms of market structure, a definite breakthrough of a lower low structure moving forward from in this month here of June. And I do expect it to continue. Now, I said this on my live analysis, and if you haven't caught my live analysis sessions on the Money Max channel, 12:30 p.m. GMT every day, from Monday to Friday, I do a live crypto analysis just for you guys, just for 30 minutes, but live straight with you or live just with my students as I go live with them. Okay, and if you want some FX at 1:30, same GMT on the Wealth Group Academy channel, I go live on there sharing forex analysis for you guys to enjoy. Okay, so looking at these charts, especially on the D1, it may be daunting for those of you who have just seen red candles everywhere, but this is healthy, as I said. Now, my real area of what I'm looking for is the price to break below. Now, I want to rehash over the theory as to what the price could do. Now, as I said to you guys, we had some very interesting price action here. So if I go into the nitty gritty, When the price pulled back for this long, before the long, we didn't have optimization of this demand zone. The price didn't use efficiency to return back to this area of demand to use the liquidity in here to go short. So when we had this strong short, which coincided with the news that El Salvador was adopting Bitcoin as legal tender within their country, we had this spike here. But we had a very strong spike back the other way. This candle here shows us that the price had to return here to fulfill the orders that were placed within this order block. We had a strong short after. We had a body close beneath the previous day, which was a very strong sign of short action. Now we had a few bullish candles, not too much liquidity. Bodies are quite small compared to the bearish candles, which gives me all the information I need to know. Now, because the price broke beneath this demand zone has returned to the other side, we have a supply zone here on the D1 created. Now, if you followed me on the weekend, I said to you something very important, guys, and I'm going to the H1 or the hourly time frame for you to see. Now, it's maybe not as clear to see, but when the price did this spike here, so we had a reversal signature, but I did say, even though we have an A and here's the B swing, now I will mark this out for you guys. So if I start from here, here's our A, all right? So here's the B. And then we have a C here. So with the A, B, and the C, I'm gonna put this here for you guys. Caps lock. All right, so here's the A and the B and the C. Now, my issue with this, now I'm very specific about price action because the money in the market, supply and demand is very specific in how it behaves. Now, even though we had a very strong wick to this area in gray, the price did not actually enter or pierce into this area in gray. And therefore, the D1 liquidity or the supply liquidity responsible for the first drop or the orders that were placed in here from institutional points of views and even retail traders was not filled if the price was to pull back into this area of supply. So as I said to my students and also to those of you on live that even though we're going to have a short, I don't believe we're going to have the full C to D drop because in market structure, if we have an A to B swing, we should have a C to D swing which ends lower than B and closes lower than B, at least to the same length as A and B or longer. Now, what we've had instead is that the price came very near here, and please pay attention to this because this is very specific what the price did. It came very close to the H1 demand order block here and reversed completely the other way. So we don't even have a return here, or we don't have the real strength of demand to be able to take this price long. So the price here pushed up long. We had an accumulation phase again. And you can see here, and it's not just Bitcoin, but every other crypto also, Ethereum, Litecoin, as I went through this afternoon, which I won't go through today, has also taken a very strong leap long, but leaving this very long and strong liquidity gap here. Now, I did say, with most of the time with liquidity gaps, they don't immediately get filled. Every market that you look at, every financial market, if I can give you any tip in every video, always remember that every market has machine learning algorithms attached to them which learn the patterns of retail traders. Now, what does that mean? Now, for most retail traders, when you see a gap, a lot of traders, especially on the Bitcoin side, will trade a CME gap, as we call it. Now, the CME gaps used to get filled immediately, but sometimes, and if you're an FX trader, you understand this a bit better, the price may enter into the blank area of space, seemingly where there's no order block, there's no candles for you to have reference to, and then spike up the other way. Now, if you notice, the price is forming another accumulation range right here. And what I did say, if you see my markings here for proof of what I was saying, I believe the price is going to return a second time at least and give us the entry that we need and use the actual gray area or the D1 supply liquidity to push the price truly short. And I do expect this short to happen. This is what I'm waiting for now. If you can see here, I have an alarm for when that should happen, and I'm willing to take the trade here now. I personally trade on Hugo's Way because you can trade CFDs with a very good amount of leverage, absolutely amazing leverage. Is the only broker I've found you can do so. You can transfer you can transfer money from Bitcoin to pounds or dollars. And if you're from somewhere that's not in the UK, you don't have to actually do KYC with them, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, you do have to do KYC with something called Instacoins. But aside from that, it's quite cool to use. And I've really enjoyed my experience. I had no problems with them whatsoever. Me and my leaders in the Wealth Group Academy, my staff have done so and made absolutely amazing profit, okay, from doing so. So I'm very happy with this, but I'm aiming for a stop loss of about £25. Not that I'm thinking about the numbers, but roughly it pans out to be about £25. First target would be beneath 2029. I do think that Bitcoin is not done with the shorting just yet. I do not think that the bias, at least short term on Bitcoin, is bearish. Now, if you're somebody that bought Bitcoin at $1 and you're watching this, then this has absolutely no worry. There's no worries for you at all because you're in absolutely crazy percent right now. Okay, but moving forward, this is what I would like to see with the price action. So if you're looking to trade Bitcoin short, this is my area. My stop loss will be very tiny, just above here. Maximum is about 36,200. Now, if the body of the candle does close above here on the H1 and continue, then there are higher levels of supply that we can go for and see the price action give us interesting price action movements from there. So be prepared. I'm just watching Bitcoin carefully and being prepared for that moment to take the trade, and then we can take full advantage of what the price is doing. Now, I wanted to end off with this just to bring back the picture as to what I'm looking for and in this current market, how this is going to pan out. So here you go, guys. Now, I've switched over to my second and main broker that I would use for trading, especially FX trading, which is IC Markets, a very reputable broker by my I've been using it for many years. They've grown so much over the years, and I think they had a great jump when, for all those of us in the UK, especially in EU, when they changed the leverage from the leverage offering from 1 to 500 to 1 to 30 if you're within the UK or EU. IC Markets was a very good source of escape from that so that we can continue, because I used to trade on XM before. Not that they're bad or anything, but that regulatory crackdown for forex traders did hurt us a bit, but we found an alternative, and IC Markets is nothing but grown. Services are great. I have introducing brokerage, and I don't have any problems with saying it's still affiliate marketing. I have affiliate marketing introducing brokerage accounts with them, and they pay on time. I've never had any problems. Withdrawals are quick. Really good people there. So IC Markets, why I wanted to bring this up is just to, for those of you who may have not seen it but heard me talk about this, I'm just going to bring up some tools so that we can have a look at this from this perspective here. Now, my targets are based on these liquidity gaps. And I know this, for some, this is a long shot thinking, wow, what is the guy doing? But IC Markets has never been wrong with his liquidity gaps. And as I said earlier on this afternoon in other videos, I've studied IC Markets price feed in deep detail to really dig down and find out whether these gaps are a brokerage issue or a price feed issue, or maybe the price, is the market's closed for IC Markets at least, and they close their price feed and then they open back on Sunday evening at 10 p.m. GMT, which is a new day, trading day for us. But when I study the price action over over several months, these are the only gaps that appear where they do appear. And number two, there are gaps further back, but they have been filled. These are the only gaps that I've seen on IC Markets that hasn't been filled. Now I'm thinking about this from a logical perspective for a moment. Now, IC Markets is not primarily a, a cryptocurrency exchange or market provider. Okay, IC Markets primarily provides services for forex trading and commodities and stocks and derivatives of that nature. Okay, and when these gaps were happening, Bitcoin was probably one of the only cryptos you could trade, and the contracts for difference on this. If this is all jargon to you, by the way, I apologize, and we'll go through more videos to understand this. But in other words, the leverage, the ability to make money from Bitcoin was quite low. You needed a very large account because the leverage was quite low. Okay, and so IC Mark is really risen getting anything for reporting these gaps or not reporting these gaps. So when I think about it from a logical point of view, there is ways to smooth over gaps, but they haven't smoothed over any gaps. So what we're seeing here is the raw price feed that has been provided to us from IC Markets. And so it's led me to believe, now I'm not the only trader. I need to find that guy. I always talk about him. One day maybe we might make a video together. But a very good YouTuber, really like him a lot. I just can't remember his name. He talked about seeing gaps on Bitcoin back down to 9,500, and he sounded, everybody thought he was crazy, but I was seeing the gaps too. But I just wanted to collaborate with my staff and make sure. Now, for some, they said that, some, not every single gap gets filled. And when I say for some, I mean people I've spoken to. But after seeing the scenarios we have here, I think this market narrative we have going on with a very heavy attack over cryptocurrency and especially Bitcoin, I do think we possibly could see these gaps filled. And for that reason, my targets, although I'm looking at the lows of previous months, for example, we have this low here. My targets are more towards a liquidity gap. My first being 23,000. And I do think that reversals will happen. So I don't think I will hold for the whole journey. I think I might close and re enter. I gave a good demonstration this afternoon and in the evening. But if you want to think with me for a moment, imagine you're in good profit on this day right here. This is the candle I'm looking at. And then from here, the price drops down very quickly and then spikes back up. You could end up going from zero to $500 profit in a few moments, and then back to $40 profit by the time you just go to the toilet and get back up because of these huge spikes that take place. So I'm saying this to say that when the price reaches very interesting areas psychologically for traders and also technically, then I will be looking to close and re-enter, or at least use. Thank God that we have the opportunity to do this with MetaTrader. Lock in some profit and let the rest run. Okay. I don't want to be unwise and get caught up in a spike like this where I was at $800 profit, then I come back and I'm at $100 because it'll be worth no, it wouldn't be worth the wait. Okay. We'll have to be wise and have to, use our wits when we're trading the market, and also just focus on different areas and different key people who speak. Now, for example, Robert Kiyosaki is a very well-known proponent and defender of Bitcoin who said he believes that Bitcoin is going to get to 23K. Now, he has quite a large following. Now, it's not enough to cause the price to move, but one thing I would say is that institutions are very smart and they can pull liquidity in and out of the market at certain periods of time to cause the price to correlate with certain things that people of key influence say to line up with the price so that they can get very good entries for buys and sells. And I keep saying this, that there's certain institution guys that don't have us in mind at all. Some are more holistic in their view and they want everybody to do well in crypto, but there are some who are still the same old way of just focusing on the money, who, because of the topology of cryptocurrency, what do I mean by that? In institutional traders were not the first people. Institutional investors or institutional level of money wasn't the first level of money to come into the crypto market. It was actually retail traders, which is very strange, in the financial markets, because in every other financial market in history, institutions are there when things are pennies, and we come in for the so-called pre-launch when things are pounds or cents and then becomes dollars. Okay. And so this is, what we're seeing here. Bitcoin, the cheapest Bitcoin was not bought by an institution for, $1. I think for 1,608 Bitcoin was worth $1 at one point. You know, real people, people that you can relate to are the people who bought these. And so institutions know they'll never get a $1 Bitcoin again. And so what can they do? They can collaborate with the news behind the scenes and cause the FUD to become even heavier and buy the dips. And they can also do the same thing if everybody's thinking the same way in the market. This is what I'm saying. If you want to make money in crypto, to a certain extent, don't take it too crazy. If you see people running one way, as Mark Cuban says, you want to go the other. Of course, he said it in a bit different, but I'm paraphrasing. In other words, if everybody's going one direction, you want to move into the other. All right. But to finish off, my targets are quite simple. If the price does actually fulfill these, I'll be watching the price very carefully, however, at very key important levels. Like, for example, here, just beneath 27K, there's a previous low of December. So there will be some orders there, some liquidity. The price may spike and then reverse. Any sign of reversal to any degree, I want to be out. I don't want to waste any time trying to fight with the price. But my first real target in my head would be at 23,600. Second would be right here about 18,200. I mean, this gap was just about filled. I think there's this tiny space here about 17,440. Now this gap here, just to zoom in for you guys to see this, there is a gap. Yes, there is. And if you guys have seen a gap, tag me below and see if anybody else has seen a gap on Bitcoin at this price, let me know. And there's a final gap here, which is from now, I'm corrected now. The gap is ends at 9,639. So let's call it 9,640 is the final gap that I'm seeing on uh, Bitcoin. Okay. So I'm very interested to see what the price will do. And if it actually got there, guys, that would be absolutely amazing. It doesn't mean I would not buy Bitcoin or I would buy Bitcoin. That's for another video. Okay. But I would say that we still have some shorting to go on. And this is why, if I be really real, I'm not buying any altcoins at the moment, because buying altcoins at a time like this where the discount could even be 50% at least cheaper wouldn't be wise. As a technical trader and a trader every single day, watching the price action, I know that as an investor, you're dollar cost averaging. But for me, if I can see that the price can provide cheaper prices, I don't mind waiting. Okay. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope you understood my point of view. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Please make sure you like and subscribe, share with your friends, put some thumbs up. It helps me with the algorithm to get more of the content out there to support and do our part and my part personally to be able to support you guys, especially in a time like this. And even in the bull market, we can go for drinks. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that video again. Money Mike's, I'm out. Take care.